There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the name. Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the name. And in this video, I wanted to ask you guys, how much money would it take for you to never have to work again? So I did a video, or not a video, I asked a question on my community page, and I was basically saying, if you had $1 million, how long would $1 million last you? Some people said forever, some people said 5 years, some people said 20 years, some people said 10 years, things like that. And just taking a realistic look at things, right? Like if you spend a certain amount of money a year, right? How long would the money actually last you, right? Some people are in different situations. And I was really, I guess, looking at that, right? Like somebody like me, I definitely spend over 100,000 a year. So if I spend $100,000 a year, then yeah, some of it might be being invested, but I still spend it, right? So if I spend $100,000 a year or more actually, then how long would it take me to go through $1 million? And it'd be less than 10 years for sure. Maybe 7 years, maybe 7 years in the current rate that I spend money, right? And so when I was thinking about those people who said $1 million will last them forever, I don't know how old they are and I don't know how much money they typically spend per year. But let's just say you spend $50,000 a year. Well, you make $50,000 a year. Easy way to look at this is, okay, if you make $50,000 a year, look at how much money you're left with at the end of the year. Are you making $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, whatever it is? Are you the next year saying, "Oh, I saved $10,000. Oh, I saved $5,000. Oh, I saved $20,000 out of that money that I made last year"? Most people save nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay? Nothing. Not a dime of it. They've been making $50,000 a year for the last 10 years and they have no money saved. So that means that you are probably spending every drop of that money, right? So if you're saying, well, you give me $1 million, all of a sudden now you're going to make it last forever, but you haven't been doing that, right? So that $50,000 a year is, you divide $1 million by 50,000, it's 20 years, right? So every 20 years, somebody who makes 50,000 actually has spent or made $1 million. That's why it's not hard to say almost everybody at a certain point in their life will probably have made $1 million over the course of their life. 30, 40 years, even if you don't make $50,000 a year, you'd probably have seen $1 million and spent $1 million because it costs to live, right? But this observation actually goes deeper. The reason this observation goes deeper is because I was looking at something, and I was looking at what it would take for me to, like, if I wanted to, because a long time ago, let me tell you what happened. So I retired kind of when I was younger. So I retired for 3, 4 years. Can't remember how long it was, a couple years. But I wanted to go ahead and get my retirement out early because I had a family member who died, who had got cancer, and it was right before they got a chance to actually retire. So they worked their entire life, and right before they were about to retire, they got cancer. And so after talking with them, and hearing their story and stuff like that, it was like, man, I was a young dude. And I was like, man, you know what? I want to enjoy retirement while I'm young. I want to enjoy retirement while I'm young. So I retired for a couple years and I did very minimum work. Now, I didn't have a crazy amount of money. I had just enough money coming in residual that covered my bills. So I didn't work. And I saw a whole nother world by being retired, being a young man retired, going to the movies in the middle of the day for the matinee. I saw like a old folks home going on field trips. I saw things that you wouldn't normally see because you were normally a working person in the world or something like that. Or you were active, whatever you was doing, you were out actively trying to generate money either during the day, if you worked during the day, or if you worked at night, you were asleep during the day or trying to handle business during the day because you were going to be working at night. Or if you worked during the day, you would sleep at night and, or, try and get some sleep here and there, but you was trying to enjoy your time when you could. But for the most part, you were busy. I was not busy at all. And I was seeing all kinds of things that I never thought about. And so I enjoyed my retirement while I was still young. Like I was still young and able to move around and do things and see things and travel. And I did all of that. I did that. So when deciding to come back to work or that I was going to come back and I was going to run this bag up, I just accepted the fact that I was going to probably work forever. And I was fine with that. Like I'm fine with having to go out, generate money for the rest of my life. If I gotta go work, if I have my own business, whatever it is, I was like, you know what, I'm fine because I've enjoyed my retirement already. I'm okay. I got it out early, So you can never say I didn't get a chance to retire. All right. I did it. I enjoyed it. Now I put myself in this position now where, I have things that I've purchased and I'm paying on properties and things like that. And so I was looking around and, because, like I said, $1 million to me is just paying bills, right? Or just living, just how I eat or whatever. So I'm thinking like, well, you know what? $1 million for me would not last me, but less than 10 years, maybe 6.5, 7 years, about 7 years. And so that was my realization. But I started to think a lot of people talk to me about retirement. And I started thinking about it. And regardless of index funds and things like that, or, stock options, retirement from your jobs or whatever, regardless of all of that stuff, I started looking at what I would be able to live off. Because retirement is basically how are you able to pay your bills and still live. If you can do that without having to go to work, you can potentially be retired. I've done it before. So, things are way different now. I have way different, much higher level of things going on. Hell, I got a Porsche downstairs. So I got a whole lot different situation than I was before. Multiple houses, all kind of stuff. So now looking at it all, I started thinking like, what would it take for me to like retire today? Like, would $1 million retire me? Would at a time where I thought $1 million would only last me 7 years, would $1 million actually retire me? Because I do have residual income and things like that. So would $1 million retire me? Then I was like, man, you know what? Actually, as I started to think about it, I was like, you know what? Much less than $1 million would retire me. I think 500,000. If I 500,000 extra dollars, or 500,000 right now in a lump sum or over, extra $100,000 a year would actually be enough for me to retire. I could retire if I had an extra 500,000. And that I was not expecting I didn't even think about that. Like, I'm watching everybody else saying, oh, $1 million will retire me, $1 million, or like they never have to work again or whatever. And they might have been old people. They may have never. It might be people who make like very low income, might be running close to retirement age or whatever. I don't know, but a lot of people said that. And if you were 21 and saying, "Oh, if I got $1 million, I'd be retired," or I'd never have to work again, I would beg to differ unless you know what you're doing with money, like unless you know how to buy assets that can pay you and things like that, which most people don't, right? But unless you did something like that, I would say $1 million would not be enough for you to live for the rest of your life. Trust me. But everybody in different situations. And so I was one where I would not have thought that at my age, I'm 37, that at my age that $1 million would be enough to retire me, because I probably spent $1 million every about 7, 8 years or so. Definitely between 6 and 8, definitely couldn't go past that. So, just thinking about it, I'm like, man, like 500,000 I would actually not ever have to work again. And that sent me down an entirely different path, because now I realize I'm $500,000 from retirement. That's not bad. That's not bad. Like, of course, you still got to go generate that extra $500,000, but that's not bad. So now I have an entirely different thought process, plan. Well, I have to still come up with some kind of plans, but I have an entirely different thought process. It's crazy because I didn't even think about it as potentially the difference between me and retirement. I was thinking, man, not just retirement, because of course, when you get Social Security age and you got a pension or you draw for your 401k or whatever index fund you've been putting money into, sure, at 60 something, you could be like, you know what, I'm retired or whatever. But that's not what I meant. I mean, financially, I would be $500,000 from being completely done. And that's mainly because I have assets that pay me and stuff like that. But to think that just changed my whole trajectory, because I was just like, you know what, I'm just keep on grinding, which I'm still keep grinding, trying to run it up. I'm not even saying that, okay, if I get the extra 500, then I'm not going to do anything ever again. I'm not even saying that. I'm just looking at it like, man, you know what? This has gave me a different motivation. It's put me in a different direction now. So that is where my head is now. Like, how can I figure out this extra 500K, which is not a lot of money. $500,000 is not really a lot of money when you really think about it. Or am I crazy? Am I crazy? Is $500,000 a lot of money? I mean, of course it's a lot of money, but it's not like unbelievable. It's not like I honestly thought for me to just be able to say, okay, I ain't got to do nothing else again. I really thought I was going to need like 3-5 million, to be like, yeah, I'm done. But really just 500,000. Who knew? Anyway, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. What is your never have to work again number? Get in the comment section and let me know. Anyway, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name, and we are out. Hey, yo, what's going on? Right now you're watching Casino Is the Name, and if you wanted to know how I started my trucking business, I have an ebook called Big Shot, Hot Shot Volume 1, Own Your Trucking Authority. It's a great book, 5-star reviews. The link will be in the description below. Go get that. Yeah.
Beat me up, Scotty. Me and
her together, we just count it up. Money on my mind, I can't get enough. Don't play with my money, you don't want no beef. Cause I come from the bottom, I come from the street. When she first saw me, she say, who is that? When a man saw me, he called me a threat. I'm the one that really live, wanna rap.
You say you want to be successful. Well, what's stopping you? Can't nothing stop you from being successful except for you. You standing in your own way. I came from the bottom. I ain't know nothing but the grind. You can't tell me nothing about that. I called the bus at Basin Street Projects in Tallahassee, Florida. You hear me? I used to think $1 million would last me my whole life. I'd have made that and spent that. $1 million ain't enough. There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? There's money everywhere. There's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the name.